For the brim is where we will be doing our 2x2 rib stitch, so every 2 pegs should be marked. I've got 2 marked with a P, and then empty, and then 2 marked. I just use something that started with a P, purple, so I remember I don't get confused. So to do your purl stitch, I'll show you a few times. You take your loom tool down through the top of the stitch, hold your working yarn underneath, and you pull that yarn through. At this point, you take off that original stitch, your loom, that peg is empty, you put that new loop on and tighten it up. Next one, loom tool through the top, working yarn underneath, pull it up, old stitch off, new stitch on. Now, for the knit stitch, you're actually doing the opposite. Working the loom tool through the bottom up to the top, working yarn above the stitch, and now you're pulling the loop down. You still take that, okay, that one was a little tighter. You still take that original stitch off and tighten the new stitch. And you don't want to have your tension too tight. That way your brim will be really stretchy. So again, loom tool up through the bottom, working yarn above the stitch, pull the working yarn down, and then you pop off that old stitch, put that new one on, tighten it up. I will go over them both one more time. So knit goes down through the top, pull the working yarn up, old stitch off, new stitch on, purl, down through the top, working yarn below, up, and then you take your old stitch off, new stitch on. My cast on row is a little tighter, so once you get past your cast on row, it'll be a lot easier to remove the previous stitches. Knit stitch up through the bottom, working yarn over the top, pull it down, and put your new stitch on. Again, up through the bottom, working yarn across the top, pull it down, old stitch off, new stitch on. You'll be working 5 rows, and then I will show you how to switch colors, and we'll get started with our green.